And as many of you noted on a consumer level, you have more educated people giving advice because they actually went through the rules. And also, you probably saw enforcement on customs where they say, no, look, this is incorrect. They cannot do this. Take it in the warehouse, relabel it, or we're not releasing it. And once it happens to you once, it's expensive. Second time around, believe me, they're gonna go to someone like yourselves, and they say, what do I do? I can't afford this. I will go out of business if I do this again, because of this labor cost and bond warehouse transportation cost, and you have to, it takes time. You didn't make it on time to the store for the season. You just lost a whole line of items. You know, so this in the modern realities, this is especially on the thin margins, which many are operating. This is something that many retailers cannot afford. So this all of a sudden this becomes a big deal. Any questions on this? Okay, let me skip over. Let me skip over to the page 11. So marking. And when we talk about marking, we're talking about marking for non-NAFTA items. Because if it is we talk about NAFTA, we're talking about 1 or 2. If we talk about non-NAFTA, we talk about part 134. So what's the general rule? As you know, there are exceptions, but general rule is everything must be marked. Everything, even the little pen, which is in my side pocket, has to be marked. Except when it doesn't have to be marked, right? So the good question is, what doesn't have to be marked? Well, I think someone said JList, right? JList. JList. Didn't someone say JList? Sunny, was it you?
It's me.
So here is something for you to put on the wall, on your kitchen wall. Yeah. You guys may, oh, you have it. You have it. It's the same stuff. You may want to get a new one. I don't know. Just for the heck of it. So this is a list of stuff that doesn't have to be marked. But we'll get back to that. So my question is, yeah, you don't need to mark X, right? Pins. Remember the pins that we talked about when we talk about plastics? No. Wire. Have anyone seen nails marked? Nails are made of wire nowadays. Screws. Works. I mean artistic paints.
Should be marked.
Buttons.
But X has a mark. X has a mark.
X.
Yes.
X. Made in Canada.
Okay, make it.
We're talking about country origin.
Well, the egg could be marked. Egg.
The chicken or ostrich eggs?
Marked by the mother.
Okay, okay, guys, 5 minutes. Okay, give me 5 minutes and I'm done.
Okay.
where do you mark? Suppose, put that list down, please. Just, you know what, I should not have done it, okay? Usually I distribute at the end. I decided for some reason, and it's a pedagogical, next class will not see it until the very end. So, thanks to you guys. Now, suppose you have to mark it, right? Suppose it's not an egg. Suppose it's the piece of furniture. Suppose it's a bed. Where does it need to be marked? Can I stick the label underneath the bed, like, you know, the legs, just underneath the say made in China, inside the hole, and just sell it like that? No, why not? Because it's not conspicuous. What's the meaning of conspicuous? Conspicuous is something which it's readily visible to consumer, meaning they don't have to spend so much time looking for it that they just give up and say, I don't care. That's the idea. And who is the person that for whom it's conspicuous? It would be ultimate purchaser standard. So if it is done for, let's say, Samsung Electronics, the conspicuity of it may be totally different than if it was done for the consumer who goes to Walmart. Right? So containers. Everyone's seen containers, right? Containers. Does this container has to be marked? I have a, it's a Boss bottle. A Boss bottle. Boss is a Norwegian company, and it's a Norwegian water. It says here, Boss of Norway, USA, by ASA. It's their, I think, the same name as for ink. But yeah, it says, well, it says Norway all over it, so it's safe to conclude it's Norway. But does it have to be marked? Well, let's find out. Containers for articles. General rule. If the article is not required to be marked, and what article is not required to be marked? In my case, it's a liquid. Liquid is generally not. So if it's no, don't look at the J list, because J list is specific items. There is other general items, such as liquids, which items that are not capable of marking by virtue of not being capable of being marked. So think of natural gas. Can you mark natural gas? No. Can you mark my tea? Very difficult, right? Can you mark smell? Like, no. So those are common sense stuff, right? So the question is, okay, so this is not capable to be marked. So does the container has to be marked? And the answer is usually yes. Containers of articles that are not required to be marked shall be marked with the name of country of origin of that article. So if this tea came out from China, it should be made, this glass bottle should be marked made in China. A product of China, rather. But there, as we shall see, the containers sometimes are also subject to exceptions. If the container comes from a NAFTA country, it is not required to be marked, provided it's a product of the NAFTA country. So as we shall see, there are exceptions of such nature. But so do articles like water, which is not required to be marked, we know container required to be marked, unless container itself is subject to exception. So we have exception within exception, right? Pretty cool stuff. Right? Exception within exception. So you have accepted article, container, have to have marking, because the article does not need to be marked. But what if container does not need to be marked either? Okay, don't worry about it. But there is an ultimate container rule. We call it outermost container rule. And if it's an outermost container, that container must be marked. So you cannot escape from marking because there is multiple container possibility. Some containers do not have to be marked, but ultimate container has to be marked, outermost container. Take a look at the after import combination. After import, so you brought something in. Let's say you brought the sports code. An imported article is combined with another article after import. So let's say I brought the sport codes made in China, but actually it was made in Vietnam. Customs found out about it, so they say take it to the warehouse and relabel it. So I need to get labels made in Vietnam really quick, right? So I go online and I go to and I Google the company, right? And the company comes out in Canada, right? And they give me the best deal. They say we'll ship you overnight those 200 labels that is required. That says made in China. So now you have Canadian labels that says made in China, but they're actually made in Canada. So how do you mark them? Okay. I need to relabel this product with labels, right? I have to have label for this. But
The label itself don't have to be declared, right? Only the
No.
company, right?
You order label from Canada
Yeah. Uh-huh.
separately. Your merchant, your sports codes are in a bonded warehouse. Customs is not authorizing release because they say product of China. In fact, they're product of Vietnam. So to be brought into the commerce of the United States to be released, you have to cut the label China, and you have to sew in the label Vietnam. Where you get the label Vietnam, you Google, you order real quick labels from Canada. You are the customs broker for me. You are importing from Canada those labels. You know the labels are made in Canada. So for those labels, do they need to be marked? Are they in a J list? Are those labels in a J list? So why is it not? Is it not capable of being marked? Okay, put the J list down. Read. Example: you import labels stating made in China from Canada. Country of origin for labels is Canada. So on 7501, I declare Canada, right? CA. Everyone with me so far? How do I mark them? In addition to what's made in China, your label should say label made in Canada.
Okay.
Make sense?
All right.
Yeah?
And the consumer confused.
No.
No?
You look at the label. I mean, Flora, didn't you mention you seen this made here, this made here?
I didn't see the
You seen it, May?
I didn't see the
Okay.
I know the consumer would think that the
What-
label.
May, you seen it? Were you confused when you saw it? Was it confusing for you?
No.
Okay. Did you just refuse to buy it because it had so many? Ah.
But this is the stated is label.
What's wrong with
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
confused.
actually the label?
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But who cares?
Please, okay.
Customs.
Yeah, the
Customs.
customs.
That's a
The
good one.
consumer is
Right.
different.
You understand, right?
I understand perfect.
But I didn't put. I just made it one sentence, right? But the background example would be as hypothetical that I just described. All right. Let me just briefly cover outermost container. Actually, no. Let's break there because I have to talk about GRFI. Everyone, I promised you to give out questions today or yesterday. I didn't do that because I was carried away with unpredictable things which I had to take care of. So my promise still stands. Tomorrow should be the day. I hope nothing will happen tomorrow. But review these outlines and read through this, because the questions that I will include, they will have country of origin questions. All right? But the basics, I think this is a basic brief introduction, which slowly goes into the NAFTA and trade agreements at the end. So let's break here, and everyone have a nice evening.